making a killing off of a couple synthesizers, writing hits for some of the biggest names in the biz, losing out on the publishing rights to your most iconic song, but making a ton of money anyway. These one-hit wonders didn't top the charts very often, but their bank accounts don't mind. The early 90s are synonymous with grunge rock, what with all the detached, ironic lyrics straight out of the Pacific Northwest from bands like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and Alice in Chains. All of those groups sold millions of albums, though they didn't enjoy much lasting luck on the Billboard Hot 100. Although the occasional smoothly produced grunge-adjacent song could soar to the top. Case in point, What's Up, an anthemic sing-along by San Francisco band 4 Non Blondes. The group released exactly one album, 1992's Bigger, Better, Faster, More, and scored exactly one hit when What's Up reached number 14 in 1993. Lead singer Linda Perry left 4 Non Blondes during the recording of a never-finished second album. After failing to gain traction with the solo career, she then focused on session work, operating her own label, and writing and producing songs for other musicians. In 2001, for example, she wrote Christina Aguilera's Beautiful and Pink's Get the Party Started, and quickly became one of the most sought-after composers in the pop music industry. She's gone on to make songs for the likes of Gwen Stefani, Alicia Keys, Weezer, and even Dolly Parton. All those songwriter royalties and producer fees add up. According to CelebrityNetWorth.com, Perry's accounts total $18 million.
I wanted to do something a little more risky, not so, pop, not so what's out there right now.
Oh Yeah is a quintessentially 80s song, as it's built almost entirely of samples, loops, drum machine blips, and synthesizer bloops. This electro-pop classic appeared on the soundtracks of multiple high-profile movies from that decade, including The Secret of My Success, She's Out of Control, K-9, and of course, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The latter propelled Oh Yeah all the way to number 51 on the Hot 100 in 1986. That would be the only time that Swiss duo Yello would appear on the mainstream American pop chart, despite their extensive discography. Yello consists of Boris Blank and Dieter Meier, the latter of whom is also known for professional gambling, golfing on the Swiss national team, and wisely investing the money he makes off his music. He reportedly took the royalties generated by Oh Yeah and invested it into currency concerns and train companies, eventually transforming it into a fortune of about $175 million. In 1979, 16-year-old Brenda Spencer opened fire at a group of children, claiming to do so because, in her words, "I don't like Mondays. This livens up the day." Bob Geldof of the band Boomtown Rats saw a news report with Spencer's quote, which inspired him to write I Don't Like Mondays. The Boomtown Rats had many big hits in the UK both before and after that song, but that was the only time they hit the American pop chart. Thanks to the long-lasting British success of Boomtown Rats and some occasional acting work, Geldof's fortune has handsomely expanded. He also made some money during the early 2000s .com boom, formed a TV production company that he sold for millions, invested in startup tech companies and real estate, and produced reality shows in which he had an ownership stake. It all adds up to a net worth of an estimated $150 million.
How are you feeling?
Well, I'm looking forward to decrepitude, impotence, senility,
Duncan Sheik emerged on the scene in 1996 with his debut self-titled album and a lead-off single that performed well in a variety of radio formats. The mid-tempo pop rocker Barely Breathing made it up to number 16 on the Hot 100, but alas, subsequent singles flopped hard. When it became clear that the whole massive pop star thing wasn't going to work out, Sheik pivoted to making music in the potentially lucrative worlds of film and theater. He composed the scores for the films The Cake Eaters, Brothers Shadow, and A Home at the End of the World. Then in 2006, he wrote and arranged the music for the hit Broadway musical Spring Awakening. He won 2 Tony Awards for that show and went on to write both the music and lyrics for a stage adaptation of American Psycho. All told, he has a net worth of approximately $4 million. Cheers is one of the most beloved sitcoms of all time, but it's possible that its theme song is even more iconic. Applause Records released an extended version of the catchy Where Everybody Knows Your Name as a single, credited to performer and co-writer Gary Portnoy. It was a minor hit on the Hot 100, peaking at number 83. And it got so much airplay on soft rock radio that it also hit number 28 on the adult contemporary chart. Portnoy was a young songwriter without a lot of clout in the entertainment industry when he wrote and performed Where Everybody Knows Your Name in 1982. So he reportedly had little choice but to sign over the publishing rights to Cheers producer Paramount Pictures. Nevertheless, as the writer of the song, he earns half of all royalties generated every time the Cheers theme plays somewhere, not just on the radio but also on TV. And considering that this is a show that ran on NBC for 11 years and its reruns have been perpetually syndicated and streamed since then, Portnoy has ultimately made multiple millions from just one song. At a time when most prominent rappers hailed from New York or Los Angeles, Sir Mix-a-Lot made a name for himself in Seattle, releasing lo-fi singles on local label Nasty Mix in the late 80s and early 90s. Most of them didn't make much of an impact on the charts, but in 1992, he went all the way to number 1 with an amusing call to arms about body positivity. Simply put, Baby Got Back is an iconic tribute to curvy women, which stood in stark contrast to the thin standard of beauty that dominated pop culture at the time. A catchy song that makes people feel good about themselves has meant that Baby Got Back has enjoyed quite the extended life, as it has appeared on the soundtracks of dozens of movies and TV shows. As the primary writer and performer of the song and the owner of its publishing rights, Sir Mix-a-Lot gets paid anytime Baby Got Back is used, so it's generated a ton of income for him.
Tens of millions, I think, would be low.
So Baby Got Back has made over $100 million, you feel?
Oh, yeah. It's definitely made over $100 million.
Vicki Lawrence began her showbiz career somewhat accidentally. In the mid-60s, she wrote a fan letter to Carol Burnett, and then the two struck up a correspondence. In 1967, just prior to the launch of The Carol Burnett Show, Burnett's husband, producer Joe Hamilton, asked Lawrence to appear on the show as Burnett's sister in one sketch. That led to a spot on the full-time cast, along with a side gig as a pop singer. This included a Southern Gothic murder mystery country song called The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia, which was written by Lawrence's husband, Bobby Russell. In April 1973, it hit number 1 on the pop chart. Lawrence never reached those musical heights again, but fortunately she still had her day job on TV. She remained on The Carol Burnett Show until it ended its 11-season run in 1978, and then spent 6 seasons on the sitcom Mama's Family, as the matriarch of a dysfunctional Southern family. Reruns of both shows became broadcasting mainstays, which generated hefty residual payments. All told, according to CelebrityNetWorth.com, Lawrence's assets total about $8 million. The Houston rap scene had a major cultural moment in 2005 and 2006, and nobody was bigger than Chamillionaire. After 2002's Get Your Mind Correct, a collaborative album with Paul Wall sold 100,000 copies, Chamillionaire unveiled a slew of mixtapes showing off his ability to sing his own hooks. That helped to take his biggest, Ridin', all the way to number 1. It's still Chamillionaire's one and only smash, but the proceeds were enough to set him up for life. He had an interest in emerging digital technologies when music was still his primary pursuit, as he attended tech conferences to get a handle on the financial future. He was an early investor in Maker Studios, Cruise, Lyft, and Ring, all of which paid off after corporate acquisitions and IPOs. By 2019, Chamillionaire had made significant investments in more than 40 firms and launched a collaborative business app called Combos. Celebrity Net Worth estimates his fortune at $50 million altogether.
Let's go. Let's get you some investors. Let's put some money in your pockets.
Released in 1982, She Blinded Me with Science is a goofy song comparing the giddy effect of crushes to willful scientific experimentation that's occasionally interrupted by a man shouting, "Science!" That man is British TV personality Magnus Pyke, who isn't the song's primary artist. Instead, that would be Thomas Dolby, born Thomas Robertson, who assumed his stage name from the Dolby brand of high-end audio technology. The song appeared on his first album, 1982's The Golden Age of Wireless, and it was an early major synth-pop hit in the United States, reaching a pop chart peak of number 5. Dolby would record several more albums into the 21st century, but he'd never have another hit single. Nevertheless, Dolby has made a few million from his musical endeavors, particularly in his collaborations with the likes of Foreigner, Belinda Carlisle, and Def Leppard. He also made a sizable fortune via his other career as a tech-savvy Silicon Valley maker. He helped develop early downloadable music file formats and tiny music synthesizers that led to the technology that made musical ringtones possible. Nokia used the tech in its widely popular cell phones, with Dolby credited as a creator of the company's ubiquitous waltz ringtone. Altogether, he's worth an estimated $45 million. Belgian-born, Australia-raised Wouter de Bakker, better known by his stage name Gotye, has released plenty of music over the course of his career, but he only achieved international success with his fourth album, 2011's Making Mirrors. He broke through commercially with the anguished breakup lament Somebody That I Used to Know, which featured an assist from New Zealand singer-songwriter Kimbra.
Your Somebody That I Used to Know video is amazing. You're painted and the wall's painted and you're like camouflaged into the scenery.
As of 2022, it's still the one and only hit for Gotye, who hasn't released a solo album in more than a decade. But what a hit it was! It made it to number 1 on Billboard's pop, adult contemporary, dance, and alternative rock charts, with the magazine proclaiming it the top single for the entire calendar year of 2012. Then Gotye went 3 for 3 at the 2013 Grammys, winning Best Alternative Music Album, Best Pop Duo Group Performance, and Record of the Year. Gotye can probably live comfortably off of the proceeds of Somebody That I Used to Know, as it was simply such a phenomenal success. Celebrity Net Worth estimates he's got $10 million at his disposal, with most of that income derived from his one-hit tune. German musician Harold Faltermeyer was in high demand in the 1980s. His sparse electronic scores were very fashionable at the time, and Hollywood couldn't get enough. He delivered the musical underpinnings for such notable flicks as Fletch, Top Gun, The Running Man, Tango and Cash, and most exceptionally, Beverly Hills Cop. The action comedy was a starring vehicle for mega-popular star Eddie Murphy as fish-out-of-water detective Axel Foley. It became the highest-grossing movie of 1984, and the public couldn't get enough of anything having to do with it. The soundtrack went to number 1 and spawned a variety of hits, the most surprising of which was Axel F., which consisted of the movie's theme song and repeated synthesizer-played musical motifs collected into an instrumental track. It went to number 1 on the dance and adult contemporary charts and peaked at number 3 on the pop chart, making for the one and only hit single of Faltermeyer's career. All of those soundtracks for big-time movies generated a ton of income for him. According to Celebrity Net Worth, he's cashing in to the tune of an estimated $20 million. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more grunge videos about your favorite musicians are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.